What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mountain Motorsports in Roswell, and today what is in front of me might look like a regular Scrambler, but this is the Scramber 62. It's the tiny engined Scrambler, and today it's going to get a first ride. Let's go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, passenger pegs, no needed today. First ride on the Scramber 62. Ducati saw that they had a Scrambler, and man, Ducati has been putting a lot of money in their Scrambler line, and now they have an entry model 62 version, and what this is the 309cc version of the regular Scrambler. Everything else, from what I remember, is the exact same. So let's get this thing going. Now, for you guys that don't know anything about the normal Scrambler, the regular Scrambler has a 800cc engine, and when I was up in New York, I rode one a good bit, so I've got some experience on the Scrambler. Super low to the ground. You see how bent over my legs are. Kind of an upright body position. So this one's 399cc. It looks like we've still got ABS. We've still got some fancy stuff. But this is just a tinier engine version. I'm not really sure why Ducati made a smaller version Scrambler, but I'm excited, man. I really like the Scrambler. I don't really like the way I fit onto this one. This one feels a little different. And it also feels a little heavy, but you know what? We're gonna find out more during the first ride. I thought the frame was the same, but oh lordy, this is gonna be interesting. Okay. One thing I found interesting about the regular Scrambler, like I said, it's 800cc, but the way the power was given on the Scrambler was it wasn't very instantaneous. It kind of gave you the power. Get a neutral. Don't be one of those Ducatis that doesn't get a neutral. Are you gonna be one? Oh, you're gonna tease me with neutral. So the way the power of the regular Scrambler gave me, it you know, it had a lot of engine, but it didn't give it to you all at one time, and it made it seem like it wasn't as fast of a bike. So I'm kind of worried that they took more engine out and put it in the same body. Because if the power is given to me with this bike the same as the Scrambler was, the other one, then we're going to have a real big power issue. My feet don't have a lot of room to mess around. I don't know if that's the swing arm or what. Yeah, it looks like the passenger peg. My feet feel kind of cramped, so we'll keep that in mind. I'm pretty upright. You're getting a lot of wind on this bike. This is going to be one of those naked bikes that you don't have a lot of wind protection. The one really cool thing about Scramblers that I personally love is Ducati is putting a lot of energy into making this bike culture around the Scrambler. They've got different models, they've got accessories, they've got apparel. You know, when a bike manufacturer makes an apparel line for a type of bike that they have, they are taking that thing seriously. And I think Ducati's trying to make the Scrambler this one size fits all. Pick which Scrambler you want, you can have everything. Wow, the rear brake is just like, I don't expect a lot out of rear brakes on bikes, but I barely tapped that one, and I came to a smooth stop. It's got a little bit of a different sound than the regular Scrambler. There's this weird little whiny going on. It's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. I like it. Please let me go. Thank you. Oh, full throttle. There's nothing. Oh, you gotta, the power is definitely not all down low, but from what I remember of the other Scrambler, the power wasn't all down low with the other Scrambler either. It was kind of like this mid-ground power delivery situation where the power band wasn't at the bottom like real torquey bikes sometimes, and it wasn't really up high like sport bikes. It was kind of in the middle, kind of like this weird middle child that nobody knew what to do with. I can go ahead and tell you, if you were an experienced rider, I don't know if I'd go with a bike like this, because they have the Scrambler with 800cc engine. Like, that's the bike you go with. One thing I love about these Scramblers, man, is they give you that supermoto-y feel of, like, you know, you can play with them. I love that feeling too. Like, it makes you enjoy a bike so much when you don't have to stress about $1,200 fairing pieces. Mirror seems solid, unlike some Ducatis. Diablo X thing. Are you getting over? You are? Awesome. Man, these gearboxes on new bikes suck. Like, they're not good. Alright, well, never mind. I was gonna say let's give it a lot of gas. But the minivan was just like, it didn't really go anywhere. Alright, we're about to get on the highway on this little 399cc beast and see what happens. I'm kind of worried about the highway, man. So on the highway, this might be crappy because I've got no wind protection. I've got a smaller engine. It's not looking good right now, but you know what? We're not going to know until we find out. First hand here on Chase on Two Wheels First Ride, brought to you by Star Delivery. Just kidding. Brought to you by Mountain Motorsports. Star Delivery has no association with the Chase on Two Wheels First Ride franchise. Franchise? One thing I'm noticing is I don't like how close this mirror is to my hand. If I want to celebrate randomly, I want to be able to throw my hands up, and I'm not going to be able to do that because that mirror is so close. But, you know, there's worse things. Oh, launching off the line and the throttle is pinned and takes you nowhere. We got a single disc Brembo in the front. Okay, engine braking at high RPMs, not bad. Alrighty, getting onto the highway, we're gonna catch that Honda blue car. We are shifting up through the gears and not really feeling much of anything. Holy goodness. Full throttle. Is that 6? That is, okay. Full throttle at 6 gear, going 90. And we're going 93. Awesome. So this is one of the downsides of a bike like this. It's going to be a lighter bike. You are going to get blown around on the highway. I can happily say it's not much better on the regular Scrambler. It is also a tinier bike with no wind protection. My God. Okay, so yeah, highway not cool. Not having a greatest time on the highway. I am happy that the mirrors work, but that's about the only thing that works on the highway. Granted, I mean, we're going at a respectable 96, which if you're looking at a bike that's in the class of 300s, that's not bad. We'll go all the way on the outside. Whoa, that 18-wheeler has a lot of wind. Oh my goodness. Can we get 99? Can we get, what's our top speed? What is our top speed? We are tucking in like a son of a gun. Alright, 103 is about, oh, we're uphill now. Oh, we've lost it. We have lost any chance at a high speed. So there you go, guys. I can't tuck in anymore. That was fun to try, though. I tell you, man, being on the highway with this thing is a constant battle. You're fighting the wind and the engine is fighting to go anywhere. That one's rough, man. The engine's just not a lot, man. You know, and that's not to say you can't have fun on a smaller engine bike. Hopefully you guys have seen many of the 300cc bike reviews that I've done, and you know, the Ninja 300, the R3, I love those bikes. They're fantastic, and they're tinier engine bikes. I have a great time with it. And I think you can honestly have a great time. What is this white truck doing? Oh man, you feel smart, don't you? Guys, just because a bike has a small engine doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. You just got to know how to ride it in order to have the most fun possible. That's the challenge with the tiny bikes. You come into this bike thinking it's got no engine, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Does it got anything close to the 800cc? No, not at all. It's gonna, mathematically, it has half. I like the Scramblers, man. The seating is a little weird. It's a very wide seat, which is a little weird. You know, most motorcycles are going to be pretty thin seat, especially the Super Sports and the Supermotos. But the seat's good on here, man. It doesn't cup your butt. It's kind of flat like Cafe Racery, but it does a really good job. Speaking of doing a really good job, let's see if it'll wheelie. Alright, we're gonna have to work on it. We're gonna work on it though. That's one thing that's actually really fun about lower CC bikes is, you know, a lot of people complain, oh, you have to throttle up all the time to go anywhere, but you know what? There is an enjoyment of getting to treat a road like a track and just peg the rev limiter, next, peg the rev limiter, and you have a really good time. It makes typical riding way more enjoyable because it's not just like, all right, let me sit in second, and well, in second I can go from 20 miles an hour to 157 miles an hour, so it's kind of whatever. I'm just gonna stay in this gear. You know, it changes it to, all right, I'm working it. I'm working up the third gear, you know what I mean? When you have to shift into second before you get through an intersection, that is when you know you're on a smaller CC'd motorcycle. There's something about tiny bikes and having and them being lighter that makes them more fun to flick around and stuff like that. You're gonna find that with a bike like this. Now granted, it doesn't feel that much lighter than the 800, so I mean, you could get the 800 and still have a really good time. And I think the pricing for this bike is a few grand less than the 800cc bike. But if somebody came to me and they're like, hey man, I love Ducatis and I want to start out on a Ducati. I want my first bike to be a Ducati. And I'll be like, all right, cool. I wouldn't really normally recommend that, but now that Ducati's got this in their lineup, suddenly Ducati's getting in that 300 game that's so popular right now. One of the tests I like to do to figure out if a bike is a good starter bike is I like to randomly peg the throttle, full throttle, see what happens. And the couple of times I've done that on this bike, nothing much happens. Everything's controllable. Nothing gets really crazy at that point. So far, I'm really liking this for an option for a starter bike. I honestly think somebody could have a really good time on this little guy, and with 400 cc's, you're going to be a little more than that other 300 cc range. You're going to have approximately 100 more cc's than all the other 300 guys that are starting out. So it's gonna, but you're gonna have it in this like adventure package. I think this is a fantastic starter bike. Granted, you are definitely gonna pay a little more to get this bike. Granted, it's a Ducati. Granted, you're getting a bigger engine. It might be something good. It might be something that can hold your interest longer than a regular 300. I'm really impressed with that rear brake. I don't think I've ever said that about a motorcycle before, but I'm legit impressed. I don't know if it's the way the bike is kind of laid out, but the rear brake ain't bad. Look at us with these 60s colors. I'm down Z's. Yeah, this is also one of those bikes that has no dash. It has this little circular situation going on, but that's it. And if you've never ridden a bike like that, you got to be ready, because if you're coming from a typical bike like a Super Sport or something with a dash, it's weird to have nothing in front of you. You feel like there's no barrier between you and the endless road ahead. Keep that in mind. I would highly recommend, if you've never ridden a naked bike like this, definitely try it out, because it is weird to start with. You get used to it really quickly, but I really enjoy that type of stuff. Front brake not as good as the back brake. What the heck? I'm not impressed with the front brake. It's kind of like, it's got some ass sauce going on. I still stand by my mentality of, if you can get a small bike and you have a lot of friends and you all get small bikes, you can have a freaking ball. Because everybody's stuck on the same bike and nobody can go faster than the other one. Oh man, I still want a group of about 4 to 5 friends, and I want us all to have 300s, and I want to go and do a mountain day, and I tell you, we will have the most amazing time. I stand behind that fact. I don't know why it sounds different when I lean my head over and I throttle up, but I like it. I like it. So supposedly you can go off-road with this thing. If I was gonna recommend somebody go off-road with this, I would recommend very light off-road. I wouldn't try to do no crazy trail. I think it's got plenty of engine to do off-road. You know, 400 cc's, that's a hell of a lot more than my little WR250, and it does fine. Granted, this bike is a little heavier, so you gotta keep that in mind. This is a really good option for like a shorter rider that's starting out, because this is going to be way shorter than any of the other 300s. And then, like I said earlier, you still get that 400cc engine that's going to be a little more than all the guys that start out in 300s. This thing's fun to whip around, man. I really like the Scrambler. I don't think I would want this for like a bike to do like really big traveling on. But as far as like going around the city and stuff, it's a freaking awesome bike. Let's get off of it and take a look at it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, 2016 Ducati Scrambler 62. Got all the pretty red leaves going on. Like I said, got that little 1960s paint scheme. I dig the way these look, man. You know, these tires give you that feeling of like, oh dude, I can do a little off-road. You probably could. There's a little tiny baby engine. I like the exhaust, that it matches the engine. I think it looks cool. So this is what I was talking about, that flat seat. Do you guys see how like wide it is, especially if your butt's back here? The passenger's going to have a really good time. Though, I don't know if I would go with a passenger on a 400cc bike. Totally possible. I just don't think it would be the most comfortable thing ever. This is unfortunate, but looks easily changed. Like I said, man, and one of the great things about these Scramblers is Ducati is really pushing to make this thing customizable, so you can really get one of these and make it anything you want. One thing I find kind of odd is, okay, so this is the Scrambler with the smaller engine, and there's probably some way on here to tell what size engine it is, but like, I can't see it. I mean, granted, you know, if you read all in here, you'll find it, but it's going to be hard for you to be able to tell you don't have the bigger bike. Which is it could be a good thing or a bad thing, you know. If you wanted the 800 and you couldn't afford it and you get this one, nobody gonna know until you crank it up and, you know, you try to go down the road. Let's get this thing cranked up and check out the exhaust. Now, I always tell you guys, if you want to hear what the bike actually sounds like and see nice photos, I highly recommend you checking out my blog post over at Chaseontwowheels.com. I do a blog post of every first ride bike that I do, so go over there and make sure to check out the blog post. But for now, we're going to crank it up and let you hear it. Pretty minimal engine. For a little tiny engine, man, that's not bad. That's not bad. Well, that's pretty neat. Check this out. I've got the side stand down, I've got the kickstand down, and it actually lets you know, and I assume when I kick it up, it's gone. Pretty cool. Alrighty, let's get this first ride continued. Oh, the handlebars don't turn very much. I wish they'd turn more. I'm keep hitting. Interesting. There you go. The bike will wheelie, man. I'm not gonna do it anymore because that cop is right there. But in a parking lot, you could totally do parking lot wheelies. That one was a baby one. Still possible though. Alright, so 2016 Ducati Scrambler. The engine, not as bad as I thought it was. You got to understand it's a 400cc engine. It is in the class of 300cc bikes. Got to keep that in mind. Lightness, really light, really nimble. You get an upright stance, no wind protection, but overall, solid little package. So who do I think the bike is for? you're definitely looking at the beginner bike options. This an awesome option for a beginner bike. And somebody that buys this bike is going to be one of those guys or girls that doesn't feel defined by the amount of cc's that are between their legs while they're riding. You know, if you're one of those people, you're definitely going to want to go that 800cc route. I think this is a fantastic bike though, and especially to give the Scrambler a more entry-level price point, just drop engine size, I think that's really cool, man. If you're one of those people that's riding the highway a lot to work, especially at highway speeds, I don't know if I would go with this. To be honest, I don't even know if I would go with a regular Scrambler because there's just no wind protection, man. Now, you are going to have a fantastic time with even this little guy downtown or inside city limits, when you can just rip it up and have a really good time. Having a light and maneuverable bike is going to be fantastic for those situations. It's just the highway that I don't really see this bike. Because of the mixture of the engine size and the wind protection, it just doesn't work really for a highway situation. Obviously, you're not going to get a bike like this to do a track day with, but as far as like a tiny little adventure bike, man, this has got that written all over it, and I think whoever buys it for that is going to have a fantastic time. And guys, that's about all I've got for the 2016 Ducati Scramber 62. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. And if you didn't like this kind of content, let me know why in the comments so I can make better videos for you guys in the future. Also, a massive shout out to Mountain Motorsports, this time in Roswell, for letting me borrow this bike. If I didn't get to borrow those bikes from those guys, I wouldn't be able to ride them and give you guys my first impressions to help y'all make better riding decisions on what bike you want to go try out. Make sure to check them out in the links in the description if you are interested or are in the area. But other than that, guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels, and I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you spending some time with me, and I'll see you on the next one. Later. Baby Ducati Scrambler, Scrambler, Scrambler. Make sure to watch the other Scrambler video to see what I thought about that one. Yeah.